Hello, subscribers, and welcome, new readers. My name is Katrina Cabaltera, and I'm the creator of the On the Way to Wellness blog. One of the biggest realizations I had when it came to my own wellness was that when I started to incorporate spirituality in my life in the form of meditation, mindfulness practices, yoga, etc., my life felt so much in balance. And I know that the people around me can attest that it changed me in such a positive way. It helped me become more chill, peaceful, and I already was this pretty calm and patient person, but this just was on a whole new level. Spirituality means different things for different people. It can be religion, or it can simply mean this higher state of consciousness where you feel deeply connected with humanity, with nature, your body. Religion and spirituality aren't synonymous, at least they don't have to be. I grew up Catholic, went to Catholic school my whole life, and I know the Bible, but spirituality for me is not defined by Catholicism. The reason why I feel connected with the universe and with God is because I created that relationship myself. It wasn't forced from going to school or church. Anyway, I did a lot of soul searching on my own, and it was a process for me. Discernment is important. Even today, I'm not all gung-ho about every new age philosophy I hear about, because not every truth is my truth. But I found a really great community of like-minded individuals at an energy workshop led by Wolf Nieves. When I met Yellow Wolf, she instantly resonated with me. She was super grounded, so real, and this no bullshit type of lady. And what I really liked about her was she honored tradition and paid her respects to the ancestors, and this is very important in Native culture. From this one workshop, I started to attend more personal development workshops. I went to her group meditations offered for free to the community. I saw her for energy work like sound healings and limpias that she'll later describe in the interview. Interestingly, I conceived the idea of my website and my blog from a one-on-one heart-to-heart consultation, and she did a personalized guided meditation with me. And after I came up with this idea, she further helped me release my fears of putting myself out there and help me work on my confidence and step into my power. As you can hear, Yellow Wolf has been such an integral part of my transformation as being a better human. She helped shapeshift my life in a good way by transitioning me from this stagnant basal energy to just higher and higher levels of vibration. And this, in a nutshell, is spiritual alchemy. Today, I'm interviewing my teacher and mentor, Yellow Wolf Nieves. Okay, first of all, thank you, Yellow Wolf, for allowing me to do this interview with you. So please introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, and what type of services you offer to the community.
So I am a curandera, a traditional healing practitioner. I have been practicing for a really long time. Kind of gives away my age, how long I've been practicing. My journey, my goal is to mend wings and heal hearts. And that just means to support people on their journey to remember and to heal the spirit, that which is in them. We are awakening, but we are awakening and we're carrying around a lot of pain in our hearts. Some of it is from this time, others is from historical traumas. And so it's just really important to have a safe container and people that can help you as you're healing your heart and mending your wings. So that's what I do.
Okay, Yellow Wolf, can you describe what type of services you offer to the community?
So I offer a variety of services, and it really depends on what the person is needing at the time that they come to me. I offer spiritual guidance, coaching, energy cleansings, limpias, sound healing therapy, alchemical healing, Reiki, private attunement sessions. I utilize a lot of aromatherapy. I've specifically used doTERRA essential oils. I do angel card readings, tarot readings, and I throw shells. And I offer a variety of workshops, teachings, and my gift to the community is the heart breath meditation.
That's great. Can you describe what Olympia is?
Olympia is an energy cleansing or an extraction where we go ahead and remove the accumulation of negative energies that build up in your body and remove them from your body balance your chakra, bring in energies of light and love, and send you away feeling good and juicy.
I love that. In several workshops that I've been to, one of your sayings is suffering is optional. What does that mean?
It means that we have right of choice. As sacred beings that we are, we choose. We choose to respond in a way that can serve us or respond in a way that will hurt us. If you're in experience that something is hurting you, you can choose to allow that to affect you in a painful, suffering way, or you can allow yourself to understand that this is a teaching, an opportunity for you to grow and respond to it in a very different way. We're very conditioned to really go into a place of pain and suffering. Every time something takes place, the universe, or actually not the universe, but society really enforces us to be in sadness, to be in pain. And what about the option of choosing to say, oh my God, this is taking place. How can I show up? How can I make it better? Why do I need to internalize that pain? Instead, turn it into something that's going to serve you, that's going to educate you, that's going to raise the vibration around you. Yeah. So it's really about how we respond.
Mm-hmm.
So you can choose to suffer. Okay. If you want to be in that place, that's great. But if you are choosing to be well, to be your higher self, then you're going to make a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice will be to be well.
Yeah. At the beginning of this interview, I talked about my spiritual journey and what my wellness path looked like. So Yellow Wolf, what does your wellness journey look like, and what made you answer to the call?
I can spend days telling this story, or I can do the short version. So let's find a medium, right? Just to kind of a short, long story. So I am one of the firstborn to be born in the United States. My parents migrated from the island of Puerto Rico in the 50s, and shortly after that, I was born here. I was born in Brooklyn, New York. My parents encountered all the racism and the transitions that immigrants come to the United States. And, their journey was hard. It was really difficult. As I was little, I just always felt like I didn't belong. In fact, sometimes I felt like they weren't my parents. It's like, who are these people? But I always had this amazing connection to spirit, to the angels, especially Archangel Michael. And without really going into that story, Archangel Michael saved my life. And I knew that I was here for something else, something different. I never felt like I belonged with my friends or my family. And my heart always seemed to yearn for something more. I was extremely sensitive. And so I spent a great deal of my time isolating myself from people, places, and things. I didn't know it at that time, but it was the energy that I was experiencing that really was very difficult for me. I acted out as a teenager, had a son at the age of 20, which was the biggest blessing that I have ever received. And my son grounded me and made me focused and made me begin to look and trust things. When, as a mother, I was really able to manifest and create things. It was the love for my children. There was no, you can't do this. I had to show up. I had to create things. And somehow I just did. And that led me to know that there was more in life, that religion and all these worldly things, they just were obstacles. And the older I became, the more I continued to connect with spirit. And it was when I turned 36 that I made a giant commitment to myself that which I was living needed to change. My children were ready to go off on their own, and I needed to change. And so after that, I divorced my husband, and I began a journey of the seeker. What was out there? Paying attention, listening. Creator brought me to an amazing sister. Her name is Hua Anwa, who carries the long dance. And there I began my journey. I began to learn about ceremony. I began to learn about my indigenous roots. I began to understand what it was I was feeling. I was able to name it, to feel it, to sense it. And I carried the Mother Lodge for 10 years. And I danced at long dance. Well, till this day, it's been 16 years, but at that time it was 13 years. And my medicine just continued to grow and grow. And I went off to do a vision quest, and I did my vision quest here on Indian Canyon, where I was put up on the hill. And, a vision quest, you are asked to empty the vessel so that spirit can fill it with that peace, that which you're ready for. And so you do without food and water for 4 days and 4 nights. And you pray. And a medicine man or a medicine woman puts you on the hill. And you pray. And you ask for clarity. You ask for your connection. You ask for that which is that you're ready for. And I did. And it was an amazing experience. And then when my time at Long Dance was whole and complete, as I evolved, it was time for me to give up the Mother Lodge. I knew that the following year I would be somewhere else doing something else. And I had to honor this lodge and give it away in a good way, and honor the sisters and the people that had supported me, because I knew that gratitude is a biggie, but also I wanted them to know that I really appreciated what I had experienced, and the gifts and the friendship and the love and the sisterhood, but that I was ready for another piece. And so I closed that connection to that circle, and then I trusted that Spirit had something better for me. And that following year, I found Elena Avila. It was never my intention. I found in my journals and journeys, I found a medicine man whose name is Joe Torres, who teaches about medicinal herbs. And he kept talking about Elena Avila. And I was like, okay, well, who is she? And I looked for her on the internet, found very little information. And as I said, I was in New York, and there is a wellness center there called the New York Open Center. And I had their catalog on my desk. And when I flipped the desk over, there was a full page ad for Elena Avila teaching curanderismo. It was an intensive. And then at the end of the intensive, we would be traveling to Mexico to go to the sacred sites.
Wow. And
I said yes. And everything I needed was there, which was amazing. And so I signed up. I signed up for the trip to Mexico, and it totally changed my life. It awakened something inside of me that I was able to put all the pieces together and also recognize what I was going through as a mestiza, somebody that's mixed, someone that has different cultural backgrounds, how you were able to infuse all of these pieces and honor all of them, because Elena also was mixed. And so she was an amazing teacher, and she taught me how to do limpias, and she awakened something amazing in me. And I finished my intensive with her, traveled to Mexico. We did ceremony at all the sacred sites, kind of hiding though, because you're not supposed to do though. But we did though. But we just threw, camouflage energy around us so that people could see it, but they really didn't know what we were doing. And we did sacred ceremony at all these different sites. And the most powerful experience for me was when I went to Teotihuacan, and I walked La Avenida de los Muertos, and then I climbed the Temple of the Sun. And I did it the way a maestro, Selacoa, had taught us, to walk on that land that was sacred in a really magical way, and to listen to the spirits. They speak to us. The ancestors speak to us all the time. But you've got to be present. You can't be in your head. You must be in your heart. And so it took me a long time to climb to the top, but I did. And I did my prayers all the way on the top. And then when we reached the top, we did a ceremony on the top. And I carried my chanupa, my sacred pipe with me all the way through this whole amazing journey. And then I came down from the Temple of the Sun and continued my walk until I got to the Temple of the Moon. And again, I climbed the Temple of the Moon. And there I sang songs, because I've been doing a full moon ceremony for many, many years. And so I sang songs and to honor the teaching, to honor the sacred land, to honor the ancestors. And there were 3 little girls. They were 3, 4, and 7. And they had also climbed the Temple of the Sun. And they were with us up there when we were doing ceremony. And we found ourselves with them on the Temple of the Moon. And they stood with us as I sang these amazing spirit songs to the ancestors. And it was a remembering. It was a connecting our hearts and knowing that there was more. And I placed my intention to continue to support the community. And I realized that my journey was to mend wings and heal hearts. Just the same way that Creator always put special angels, special earth angels in my path, special medicine people to give me those pieces that I was ready for. My journey there's so much more in my journey. And when I write my book, you can read it. Yeah. And then, when that was done, I came home. I went back to New York. I taught in New York for a while. In 2012, Spirit said, okay, now it's time to come back to California, to hang up your shingle, to be visible. The people are ready. I had no idea how I was going to do this, and I didn't have the funds to do this, but I knew that everything would unfold, and all I had to do was say yes. And so I did. And Spirit has continued to lead me to one opportunity to the next opportunity. Every time I say yes, the blessings are even bigger. Now I have La Casita, which is my shamanic healing center. And this center is dedicated to healing and mending and supporting the community. And so I'm excited to see what's coming. Yeah.
Me too. Okay, so you mentioned, Yellow Wolf, about the Mother Lodge. Can you describe about that experience? I don't really know much about it, so great to know about it.
Well, yes, absolutely. So the Mother Lodge is a wellness lodge in the Long Dance. And the Long Dance is the annual celebration of the autumn equinox, where women gather and dance from sundown to sunup. And these are all women, regardless of spiritual connection and understanding. They gather together to do this work. And one of the lodges, there are several lodges in there, and one of the lodges, it was new, and there's a Sweat Lodge, the Drum Lodge, the Black Lodge, and the Grandmother's Lodge. So the Mother Lodge was a dream, a vision of a sister called Moon Wolf, and she would come with this vision to the circle, and they didn't accept it at first. They kept saying no. But finally, with her perseverance, she got a little space inside the Black Lodge. The Black Lodge is a mooning lodge where women who are in their moon time come together to learn about how to honor your sacred blood and how to walk in the world during that time. And so they gave her a little corner where she could put the representations of the Mother Lodge. And my first year at Long Dance, I was assigned to the Black Lodge. That was the lodge that I decided to support. And I learned so much. And there was this little lodge in there. And I spoke to Moon Wolf, and she taught me about what she knew. And so I made a commitment to work with her the following year, and so that I could learn more about the Mother Lodge. Well, the next year came, and she decided that she was not going to be able to participate in long dance anymore. And I was gifted the Mother Lodge. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know nothing. But I said yes. I had said to Spirit that I would do this work, that I would learn, that I would show up, that I would be present. And so I did. And the next thing I knew, I was the lodge leader. I didn't have a clue. Mm-hmm. And we were supposed to build it in a very specific way. It had to be made out of willow in a half dome shape and then covered with specific tarps. Mm-hmm. And so I was very conscious of using organic natural fibers. So I had to go out and gather these materials. During that time, I had a vision. And the vision was that I was to make a healing blanket. It was a healing robe. And the healing robe was very specific. And it had very specific images drawn on it. That year, one of our teachers, Pegata, had died. And so I had a medicine maker make me this robe for this lodge. And the women would dance with it. And all the spirits of this robe would support them and connect them. I just showed up. And I listened, and I would sleep on the ground, and the earth would speak to me. And I would have my own plans, right? I would get very in my mind about how it was going to look like. And then I would show up with my plans, and Spirit would say, nope, we're doing this. So I learned to put that which the ego was leading aside and learn to be in my heart. Right. And learn to connect and listen. Mm-hmm. And truly listen. And so it was the goddess of the dance, the Mother Earth, Spirit, that taught me how to connect and be in that place, how to truly be in leadership, how to show up because I said I would, mm-hmm. how to be part of this healing circle that was made for women, how to honor the Mother, the sacred Mother, and her many faces, yeah, the maiden, the mother, and the crone, mm-hmm. and what it really looks like, and how we really treat our mothers. You know, when the dinner's made, everybody shows up to eat, but there's nobody there before to help build or mm-hmm. put it up, and very few people to wash the dishes afterwards. Right. Everybody goes home. Yeah, and I really got to see that, how people really treated their mothers, and it was really important to understand that we needed to come back to some basic things. Mm. We needed to be present with how we treat our mothers. We take them for granted. We're not present with them. We don't help them. Yeah, we take from our mothers. We don't give to our mothers. And so the teachings in that lodge were huge. And as I said, I carried that lodge for 10 years. And it was an amazing experience. And every year I would learn something new. And every year I would learn that I needed to just surrender and to trust that the lodge would unfold and the women that were needed to bring the pieces that were needed for that dance would show up. And that everything that was needed, all the materials, all the pieces, all the people would show up. And as I showed up each year was different. And that's how I learned to mend wings and heal hearts, by being present, by listening to the stories that women were telling me, and then helping them to create new stories, to help them to understand that we are the co-creators of our life. We create our lives by the choices that we make. Mm-hmm. We create our lives by the stories that we tell ourselves, by the limitations that we place in our stories, by repeating those stories over and over again, and how those stories wound us, or how those stories empower us and free us so that we can fly. Yeah. It was an amazing experience. And when my time in that lodge was whole and complete, it took me 3 years to give up the lodge. Because I was so attached to the lodge. I mean, I would cry because it was my baby. Mm-hmm. I birthed that lodge. It used to be in a corner in another lodge. I was the one that was given that lodge to birth it. I didn't know that that's what I was going to do when I was doing it. All I knew was that I said yes. All I knew is that I needed to show up. All I knew was that I needed to trust that Spirit would do the rest. And I did. And it was one of the best experiences of my life.
That's awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
So you mentioned about alchemical healing. How did you learn alchemical healing and just energy work?
Well, when I started my journey, I was very concerned about only working with indigenous elders. If you weren't native, I was not interested in learning any of the work that you were teaching. I had an elder that had needed a kidney, and he was a magical medicine man. And he was dying because he was too old and he didn't have money, and they weren't going to give him a kidney. And he was dying, and we were at a powwow, and I went with grandmother, and together we prayed over him. And as I placed my hands over his body to send him some love, to send him some energy, nothing came out of my hands. And I felt so bad that I was unable to help this special being that I loved so much. And at that moment, I made a vow that I would learn how to heal, that I would learn how to support, that I would somehow open my heart and I would ask Creator to teach me. So I was still carrying the Mother Lodge, and one day Hua and we were in my house. She was doing some teachings, and we went up to East West up in Mountain View, and she pulled out the book Alchemical Healing. She pulled out Power Animal Meditations and Alchemical Healing, and she said, "Yellow Wolf, you need to read this book." And I said, well, that book's been jumping at me for years and years and years, but she's not native, so I'm not reading it. And she just looked at me and said, Yellow Wolf, you need to get over that. So, I stood my ground and I didn't buy the book. And then we went home and she took us on some journeys that Nikki had written, and they were amazing. And so when everybody went home, I ran up to East West and brought the books and got them home. And as I began to read Alchemical Healing, I was able to connect my hands to the elements, open my palms, open my fingers, and run energy through my hands in a way I had never done so before. And I was, oh my goodness, if I can do this just reading a book, what is it going to be like working with her? I got to do this. 15 minutes later, I received an invitation from her to participate in an intensive in alchemical healing. I was like, okay, okay. I said yes. I asked for a scholarship. And then I said, okay, how am I going to raise the rest of the funds? And I did a prayer, and Creator invited me to create a workshop called Manifesting Change, and to teach the community how to create change in your life, how to identify, how to do a self-assessment, identify what's working, what's not working, and then how to create those changes in your life. And so I took that intention and that vision into a sweat lodge, shared it with my sisters. After the lodge, one of my sisters came to me. Now, the workshop hadn't even been created, but my sisters came to me, gave me the donation for the workshop, and said, Yellow Wolf, I believe in you. But the workshop's not even there.
Wow. She's
like, I believe in you. I know you're going to do this, and I want to be the first one. I want you to know I believe in you.
Wow. That's amazing.
And then the workshop came. Everything came. I taught in groups. I taught individually. I just kept teaching it until I raised all the funds. My other sisters gave me a care package, just goodies so that I could drive. I didn't know what I was getting into, so I drove all the way to Eugene, Oregon by myself, just in case I had to make a great escape, which I didn't have to. And when I got to Nikki's home, I found there were like 30 amazing, juicy people that were so connected to spirit and so open to learning and sharing. And it was like going to Hogwarts, School of Wizards and Magic. I learned so many things, and it started my journey as a healing practitioner. It was really amazing. And I continued to study with her, and I became a teacher, and I taught alchemical healing. I belonged to the lineage of Thoth. And it also taught me to measure people's hearts and not the color of their skin or their ethnicity. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that even though she was not native, she was still super juicy. And that was the medicine, the work that I needed to learn. And that was my connection to learn how to work with energy. And it was very powerful. And it was good. It was juicy.
Yeah. And I mean, I can definitely attest to that. Working with you and doing energy sessions with you are juicy and amazing. And I highly recommend you guys doing it. So, all right. Thank you again, Yellow Wolf, for doing this interview with me. And my last question is, do you have any last words?
Absolutely. First I want to thank you and thank Creator for this opportunity to share my journey. For a very long time, I was very closed-lipped about sharing my personal experience. I didn't, I was taught to keep your experiences close to you. But once Creator said it was time to bring it forward, I began to share. And what I'd like to share with the community is the 2012 was not that on that day everything would shift and the world would be destroyed, but instead the elders have taught us that it was a time of new beginnings, that which needed to be released and given away, that which needed to be shape-shifted in our hearts and our minds and our spirits and in the earth, that the earth would create these amazing changes. And if you look around, there have been some amazing changes. It seems to be a battle between light and dark. And so many people are awakening. So many people know that the way life isn't in balance. There has to be more. And so I invite people to trust that and to open your heart. Ask for support. Be present in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. Stop numbing yourself with electronics, with food, with drugs, with sex. Use things in a sacred way. Know that you are a sacred being and that you're here for a reason. You came to this earth to raise the vibration, to make a difference in the way you're supposed to make the difference, not the way I'm choosing to make a difference, that we are all very unique and we have a very specific gift to give the world. Find out what that is. Call in your teachers. Show up. Support them. There's this mindset that ceremony has to be free and that somehow elders and medicine people need to give everything away and need to live in poverty. And I say that's BS. We live in an abundant universe. There is so much for everything, but we're wasting those resources. We're not honoring our elders. We're not honoring the teachings. We're not investing in learning and growing. We don't show up when we're invited. Show up. Listen to your spirit. Give back. Ask questions. Who are your people? What did they do? What is their story? Yes? Ask questions. Reach out. Be present. Learn to use your breath for your highest good. Give away the drama and begin to tell a new story. A story of empowerment. A story of wellness. A story of creating, of manifesting, of dancing, of singing, of flying, of being the best that you can be. And as you take a step forward, take someone with you. Learn to honor yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally, and spiritually for the highest good of all. Ometeo.
Ometeo.
Y que siempre haya luz, paz, amor, conciencia y armonía. Ometeo. Thank you.
Thank you.